Hi guys, welcome back. And in today's video, we'll be going through anatomy of the respiratory system. How well do you know your anatomy? Check it out with me. So this is the anatomy of the lungs. Anatomy of the lungs, and I will say the respiratory system in general, because this does not just comprises of the lungs alone. It also comprises of the upper part of the respiratory tract. So know your respiratory system with me. Let's go. So here we are. We'll be looking at the upper respiratory tract. We'll be looking at the larynx. First of all, the larynx is also known as the voice box. The larynx lies behind the epiglottis. It lies behind it. Now, when we are talking about the larynx, one thing we should know is that the larynx comprises of nine irregular cartilage. Nine irregular cartilage. But in this video, we'll be looking at five irregular cartilage. Now, what are these cartilage? The cartilage includes the epiglottis cartilage, which is this. The epiglottis cartilage is a leaf-like structure. Leaf-like. The epiglottic cartilage is a leaf-like structure that covers the larynx during swallowing or when you are inhaling anything. It covers the larynx um so that food can go through the esophagus and not into the trachea. There are certain times you are eating food and it feels like what you are eating has gone through the wrong part, and this person will start coughing, and the person will start choking, because food substance are not meant to go through the trachea. Food substance are meant to go through the esophagus. So it is the work of the epiglottis to cover up. It's a leaf-like structure. It covers up like this. It covers up. It bends and covers the larynx, which is the voice box. The larynx is behind the epiglottis. It covers it and prevents food substance from going through the trachea. Take note of that. That's one of the important functions of the larynx. We'll go on and discuss about the larynx, and one of the functions from what I have mentioned right now of the larynx is production of sound, production of speech. So the epiglottis, which is this cartilage, the first cartilage of the larynx, protects food substance from going into the trachea and allows it to go to the lungs. The epiglottis is made up of stratified epithelial cells. Now, the next cartilage of the larynx is the thyroid cartilage. So the thyroid cartilage is also made up of stratified epithelial cell. It is covered with stratified epithelial cells, and it is rightly below the epiglottis. This is the second cartilage of the larynx. The third cartilage are the cricoid cartilage. The cricoid cartilage is made up of coronary epithelial cells. They are different. They are not made up of stratified. Take note of the difference. Made up of coronary is made up of coronary epithelial cells. Okay, and then now we have the athenoid cartilage. Athenoid cartilage are two. They are side by side. They are two, making it five cartilage that comprises the larynx, making it five cartilage. Now we'll be looking at the trachea. The trachea is also called the windpipe. It's called the windpipe because it helps production. And mind you, the larynx, which is also known as the voice box, is that part of is that part here that you see in male children. When males start to progress from puberty to adulthood, it comes out like this and forms the Adam apple, which we all know some of the teenagers in our generation to have. So just know, when you see people that have that, or if you have that and you feel it, know that that is the function of your larynx, the voice box. If anything happens to an individual in that part, they most likely will lose their ability to produce speech. So this is the trachea. The trachea is 10 to 11 centimeters long. If you take a major tape and you put it there, it is about 10 to 11 centimeters long. It comprises of 16 to 20 incomplete C-shaped rings. 16 to 20. If you count the shape rings that are here, it is about 16 to 20, and they are incomplete. It is when they say C-shape, incomplete C-shape rings. They are not complete. They are incomplete. They are C-shape rings, right? Okay, now here is the carina of the trachea. The carina of the trachea is that point where the trachea divides and form branches, where it divides and form the primary bronchioles and the right and left primary bronchioles. So that particular point where it divides is called the carina of the trachea. Know your respiratory system with me. Now, we'll be talking about the lungs. When we are talking about the lungs, mind you, the lungs is no longer part of the upper respiratory system. The lung is a part of the lower respiratory system. And looking at the lungs, this is the lungs. This is the lungs. Now, these lungs, what do you notice when you look at the lungs? In every diagram, there is always the apex and there is the base. So this is the apex of the lungs. This is the apex and this is the base. Now, if you look properly at this diagram, you will realize that there is a difference between the right, you realize that there is a difference between the left lungs and the right lungs. What are the differences you are noticing? The first pronounced difference between the left lung and the right lung is that the right lung has three lobes. The right lungs have three lobes. You see the superior lobe, the middle lobe, and the inferior lobe. It has three lobes. So the right lung is divided into three segments. They are called lobes. But just have it in your back of your mind that one of the difference between the right lung and the left lung is the division. Now, the left lung has just two lobes, just two, which is the superior lobe and the inferior lobe. That's all. Just two lobes. Now, between the lungs, there is a space. This space is the point where the heart stays. Between the lungs, there is a space, and this is where the heart stays. Now, going on, this trachea, I said earlier that is divided into the primary bronchioles and into the primary bronchioles, which is the primary bronchioles and the right primary bronchioles, right? So now it has been divided. Moving on, you see it's also divided into smaller segments. These are called lobulus. Lobulus. Now, moving on, it is also divided into bronchioles. The lungs is divided into bronchioles and then alveoli. We know what alveoli does. It helps to store in air, helps to store in oxygen, right? So these are divided into bronchioles, but this diagram could not capture the pictures of what alveoli look like. You can check your textbook and then you will see what alveoli actually look like. Then, yeah, like I said, the heart is here. Then you will see in your diagram, in the diagram of the lungs, there are certain pleurals that are there. We have the parental pleura. The parental pleura is that sac that covers the outer part of the lungs. It protects the lungs, the outer pleura. It's called the parental pleura. It's the outer one. You see the lining. You see the lining. The parental pleura. Okay, then we have the pleural cavity. That's the one in the middle. This diagram is not doing justice, but here is the pleural cavity. It is between the parental pleura and the visceral pleura. It has serous fluid and it contains 7 to 10 mils of serous fluid. The pleural cavity contains 7 to 10 mils of the serous fluid. So there is a fluid in between the lungs. You know what fluid does? It prevents wear and tear. So first of all, there is a fluid before the parental pleura. The parental pleura, I said, it protects just the way we have viscerals, that peritoneum that protects the internal organs. Just that's the same way we have pleurals that are protecting the lungs from other organs. And in this behind the parental pleura, we have the pleural cavity with serous fluid in it that helps to protect the lungs as well. I believe it helps prevent wear and tear friction. Then we have the visceral pleura. The visceral pleura is directly in contact with the lungs, So the lungs has three pleuras. We have the visceral pleura, we have the parental pleura, and we have the pleural cavity with serous fluid. Okay, that being said, this is the diaphragm. Below the lungs is the diaphragm, and during breathing, there's an expansion Breathe in and then you breathe out. It's the diaphragm expands and relaxes during the breathing process. During the breathing process. Okay. That being said, we have the oblique fissures and the horizontal fissures. This division in between the lobes, the horizontal fissures and the oblique fissures between the lobes, the lungs also have fissures. So, how many were you able to guess right before I said them? How well do you know the anatomy of the lungs? Comment below in the comment section any anatomy you want us to review together, and it will be done. I believe with this you have been able to have a better insight on the lung anatomy. See you in my next video. Bye.